It's funny how when the ball bounces your way, a couple plays here and there make a huge difference, and it certainly has. And I think it's been fun to watch the team kind of mature as the season goes on, and the confidence level grow that regardless of the score, if we just keep playing hard and keep doing the right things and doing our job, good things are going to happen. The part that is different is Davidson and the new coaching staff they have and the new players they brought in. They're doing a remarkable job. They're 5-3 right now. They're averaging 43.5 a game, and they really have some dynamic players. The Druggers kid had a great season last year. I think he's about 90 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. They have another young freshman kid, number 7, who's done a great job coming in, and so they've got really a great 1-2 punch at tailback. And then they have a little receiver that they're giving the ball to on speed sweeps, option, and that type stuff, and getting him on the perimeter in space, and he's made a lot of things happen. So it's an offense very similar to what we faced last week, although a little more triple option in it rather than wing T. As far as traditionally when we've gone up to Davidson, we've actually played better. And I think what happens is because we leave a day early, we leave in the afternoon so kids don't miss any class. But it gets them focused a little bit earlier, gets them away from distraction. They get a great night's sleep on Thursday night. Well, I watched the film, and I'm still wondering how they did it. And their opponents put up 61, so it's 152 points in 60 minutes. I mean, that's over 3 points a game, almost 3 points a minute. So yeah, they're doing a great job, and offensively, they are hitting on all cylinders, and we're going to have to be very disciplined. Our hope is that after playing the similar offense the week prior, that they'll feel more confident in their assignments, and they'll be able to read things faster. That with the extra week of practice on a similar type offense, that now the safeties are going to be able to come in, maybe hopefully tackle it at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield, and hopefully get them off schedule. The one thing that Davidson does a better job than Jacksonville is they throw the ball much better, and their quarterback is definitely a dual threat, both running and throwing the ball, and so that's going to add some unique complexity to what they do. Yeah, I mean, offensively, they're doing very well, and our part of our game plan is our offense needs to hang on to the football because they can't score without it. And much like last week, we've got to be able to sustain drives and make sure we keep the chains moving and try to cut down the number of possessions that they have because when they get the ball, they don't give it back. More of a spread the field and their quarterback's in the shotgun as opposed to being up under center. That's the first thing that you see. And a lot of zone read that we run, but they have a third option where we'll run a pass as a third option. They're running an option play. Then again, they'll bring the receiver or a wing back in motion to become the third option as a runner. And the other thing they're not doing is not turning the ball over. I think they're +1 on the year in turnovers, and I think one of the things that has helped our success is we're +4 on the year in turnovers, and so that's always going to be a huge deal. And I'm hearing that the weather up there may be a little suspect as there's some rain going through, and so again, we got to make sure that we pay attention to detail. I think the other hidden thing is our special teams have overall been pretty good, and Johnny Messina to this point has done a great job of kicking the ball. Our punt coverage to this point is averaging under 1.5 yards a return. And so if Matty can stop putting his knee on the ground and get the ball off like he did last week, and that punt he had at the very end of the game had a huge field-changing effect, and we need to make sure that we do the same thing this week to keep Davidson on the long fields. Well, their punt coverage is really unique. They don't bring a lot of people, but the guys that they bring are very physical, and many times they're taking the shield. The new fad in punting is the 3-man shield right in front of the punter, and he's so physical he just drives that guy right back into the punter. And sometimes he's not actually hitting the punter or getting the ball, but his blocker is so close that he ends up kicking in the back of his blocker. They have done a good job with blocking kicks, and so we've been very diligent about making sure we understand our assignments. We did a lot of technique work this week on our man and zone side of our punt protection, and then similarly, they've done a decent job on kick returns, and so we got to make sure that we're doing the fundamentals right. They're not a big double team type kick return type team, but they do a very good job of getting bodies on bodies and just covering people up. So we've got to make sure that we avoid to the correct side, and then when we are in the area where we have to bench press them back, we are physical with that and don't avoid that. I mean, they're going to run what we call an over G defense, 4-man front, and they tend to line up similarly. Which means that there's very few mistakes. They're always in position. Now, some people have completed some long balls on them. People haven't really run the ball that effectively all the time. They're averaging giving up a lot, but Jacksonville runs the ball a lot. So some of these stats are skewed. Some of the fact they're scoring 43 a game with 91 as part of that average, that tends to drive your average up. With that said, they're playing very good football right now, and I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. My hope is that they had a double overtime loss last week to Marist, and sometimes that can linger, and certainly we're going to need all the help we can. It's Parents' Day up there. I know that place is going to be rocking. I know there's a new enthusiasm with the new coaching staff in there, and anytime you go on the road, you've got to not only beat the 11 on the field, you got to beat the crowd that's sitting there watching it too. The first one that stands out would be Dwight Lawrence on defense. He's playing safety for us. Jackie Johnson got injured in the game last week, and we're still a game time decision with him to see if he's going to be ready or not. So he came in and played safety for us. And one of the reasons that I think he was a little slow to react and come up and tackle on the option is he was still figuring out game day speed. The other young guys that have been improving greatly are a couple guys in the offensive line. Billy Cordy's improving greatly. Peter Grubel stepped in when Josh Miller unfortunately had a season-ending injury and a season-ending situation where he couldn't play anymore. And then obviously Jareem Westcott, our tailback, has really ignited our run game and has done a great job at that point. And then I can't call him a young kid, but certainly a newcomer would be Stephen Burdett, who's made great, who's acclimated into offense, runs great routes, catches everything around him, and obviously he's got some game day speed that's nice. For Colby Duncan has really stepped in. He's playing great. He played great when Whiskey was there, and then he stepped in at Mike, and you can use him at outside linebacker. He covers the whole field. He's got great range, and he's got great instincts. And one of the things that he does well is when he tackles, the pile goes the other way. It's not one where he tackles and gets carried. He usually tackles it going forward. Tyler Mirabella has done a great job of stepping into Whiskey's role. And the other one is, again, Reggie Gant played some last year, but he's really playing at a much proficient. He understands the defense a lot more. His technique is so much better this year from the standpoint of not getting out leveraged outside. So somehow the energy was unbelievable, and I was getting a lot of help as to when to call timeout those last few seconds of the game. But it was great to have the students in there. It was great to have all the parents, the friends, his friends and family, and everybody was there. And obviously we're not looking past Davidson at all, but from a crowd perspective, I'm anxious to see homecoming in a week, and I hope everyone takes the opportunity to come down here because it's a really fun setting. That I understand that the tailgates have been a lot of fun, and the students have added a great atmosphere to the game and bringing an energy to the game as well. Well, it would mean we'd have our first winning season is what it would mean, and it would mean that we have 3 more left after that. Listen, are we happy where we're at? Yes. Are we really excited about it? Yes. We're trying to maintain, listen, it's back to the grindstone and make sure that we're focusing on all the little things that got us to this point so we can hopefully get to that 6th win at some point. I mean, if you're an outsider looking in, it's starting to show that the plan we put in place is succeeding. And while we all wanted things to happen a little bit faster, there's a lot of reasons why they didn't. And I think we're on the right track. Every winning streak and every winning culture is fragile. And you've got to be very diligent to make sure that you are doing the little things, as I said earlier, to continue to maintain that success. Well, we've got to control the run game. We've got to keep the ball out of their hands by controlling the ball offensively. We've got to make sure that we give them long fields to work. Our special teams are going to be crucial. And hopefully we can make our special teams be an advantage for us in this game. We've got to make sure that we're punting the ball and covering very well because they've got some explosive kids. We've got to make sure that we're disciplined in our run fits and also our play action pass, because when you start firing freshmen or firing free safeties up there to stop the run, they're going to be throwing it over your head pretty quickly. And they've got the people back there that are threats. If they get a step on you, you're gone. And then offensively, again, we just want to be efficient. We've got to run the ball more effectively than we did last week. And Davidson, in a way, is a bit of a rivalry game because we've both been struggling to get ourselves going, and we're both having success this year. And so I think it makes for a really intriguing game. The nice thing is our kids have been in that situation, and so it shouldn't come to a surprise. And at this point in time, we've played pretty relaxed in that situation, which allows us to execute more efficiently. So my hope is that, listen, when you're on the road, if you have a chance to win the game in the 4th quarter, that's all you can ask. And so we're hoping to make sure that we're in that situation so that when the time comes for that last drive or that last stop, we can make that thing and hopefully get out of there with a win.